Nearly everyone's heard of the legend of the Fountain of Youth, a body of water that could reverse the aging process or cure diseases. But with similar stories in so many cultures and pop culture, could there be any truth to these ancient stories? And how do they all fit together? Let's find out. This is Beyond the Legend. I'm Taylor, and you have probably heard of the Fountain of Youth, especially if you grew up in Florida or like subpar Hollywood sequels. But where did the idea of a Fountain of Youth even come from? The Fountain of Youth is perhaps most prominently associated with the Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon. Though the veracity of the accounts are often disputed, the story is often told that Ponce de Leon supposedly set out to find the fabled Fountain of Youth on one of his journeys, and that quest led him to what we now know as the state of Florida. Historians are pretty certain he never did find the fountain, but accounts of a similar life-prolonging fountain emerged far earlier and in another part of the world. In the 5th century BC, a Greek historian known as Herodotus hinted at such an anomaly somewhere in present-day northern Africa. Herodotus wrote of a people that lived to be 120 years old, or older. He detailed their diet of fish and milk, but attributed their longevity to their habit of washing in a special fountain that smelled like fragrant roses and in which nothing would float. A few hundred years later, a similar tale called The Water of Life appeared in various versions and translations of the Alexander Romance, a largely fictionalized version of the life of Alexander the Great. This specific story detailed Alexander's search for the spring that could give youth, alongside his servant Alligator. Several iterations of the Alexander story found their way throughout the following centuries and flowed into the popular imagination, spawning more stories, sculptures, and art. Some of these later iterations may have even been influenced by a well-known story in the Bible, the story of the lame man who was cured on the Sabbath. Before that miracle happens, the passage describes Jesus going up to a pool in Jerusalem called Bethesda. If you read verse 3, you'll see that a great number of disabled people would lie near the pool, people who were blind, lame, and paralyzed. One of those men was an invalid for 38 years. He's lying there and is asked by Jesus, "Do you want to get well?" The man says, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." The interesting part is that this doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you include verse 4, which is often only included as a footnote since it only appears in some translations. Verse 4 says, "From time to time, an angel of the Lord would come down and stir up the waters. The first one into the pool after each such disturbance would be cured of whatever disease they had." Could this be another early reference to a real-world fountain of youth? A pool that would cure disease with the help of a supernatural force? In more recent times, the 1860s, an archaeological site in St. Augustine, Florida, operated as a tourist attraction based around the legend of the Fountain of Youth. The land was purchased in 1904 by a woman named Luella de McConnell and advertised as the spot where Ponce de Leon first landed, though there is no archaeological evidence to support this, and to this day remains a popular destination for those visiting the United States' oldest continuously inhabited European established settlement. Today, tourists can see the rumored location and drink from the fabled fountain themselves, while getting a cute pic next to a stoic conquistador. In Book 4 of the Kingdom of Florida series, the characters embark on a journey to discover the Fountain of Youth. But along the way, they realize that there's a twist, a second fountain that has a more deadly, opposing effect on those who enter its waters. This bit of lore is unique to the series, but expands on the well-known legend in a fun and creative way. With such a preponderance of stories about waters that restore life and reverse aging, should we presume there's some ounce of truth to the Fountain of Youth story? Or is it just our own wishful thinking? After all, who wouldn't want to be able to turn back time a little bit? We may never know for sure, but until next time, we'll keep digging. Let me know in the comments if I missed any important nuggets of Fountain of Youth lore from the vast chronicles of history. I'm Taylor Thomas Smythe, author, designer, and creator, and this has been Kingdom of Florida, Beyond the Legend. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next exciting episode coming to you soon. And check out The Fountain of Youth, Book 4 in the Kingdom of Florida series for an exciting adventure story today.